Hey guys, it's Corey over at Goofy Gorilla IT, and today I'm going to walk you through a tutorial on how to promote a domain controller in Windows Server 2008 R2. So we're going to start off by clicking here next to the Start menu on Server Manager, and you can see here if you click on Active Directory Domain Services on the right, and you look right below Summary, you're going to see there's a link here that says Run the Active Directory Domain Services Installation Wizard, or DCpromo.exe. That's obviously the easiest way to do that. I'm going to go ahead and run it from the command prompt today. So just open a command prompt here and type in DCpromo, and it's as easy as that. And it brings up the menu for this, or I'm sorry, the installation wizard. And just going to go ahead and click next. And like always, if you're not familiar with this process, make sure you're reading through any screens, any cautions, or anything like that you get. For this, I'm just going to keep going through. This is the first domain controller, and I'm creating the domain, so if you were actually adding this as a secondary domain controller, you would click on Existing Forest, and then you could add it into a domain by the domain name. So for the fully qualified domain name, we'll go ahead and name this Domain 03. And I'm sorry, we need to name that domain 03.local. And for the force functional level, we're going to go ahead and leave that at 2003. If you don't know about force functional levels, make sure you read up on those. If you switch the force functional level to 2008 R2, your whole domain has to be, or I'm sorry, your whole forest has to be operating at least 2008 R2. So once you make that change, you cannot go back. So make sure you do the research on that and understand what functional levels are. Go ahead and hit the next button here, and the domain functional level as well. We're going to leave that at 2003. The same thing applies there. Go ahead and let this install. Okay, I'm back now. This is actually installed already here, and we're going to leave the DNS server checkmarked because this is the first domain controller in this domain or forest, so it needs that as a DNS server, and you don't have the option to unclick the global catalog, as there obviously has to be at least one. So go ahead and click next here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click yes on this for now. This is actually, I'm basically going to be pointing to this server box as my DNS server, but I'll set that up later. Basically in the DNS field, I'm going to type in 127.0.0.1 as a loopback address so that it looks at itself for DNS name resolution. I'm going to go ahead and hit next here, accept all the defaults, and then password. Type in whatever password you're going to be using for your domain, and click next, and just kind of review your settings here, make sure everything's good, make sure there's nothing that needs to be changed. If you do need to change something, you can go back. Just click the back button however many times you need to and make your changes. So I'm going to go ahead and click next here, and it's going to go ahead and set everything up for me. Alright, so this is actually finished installing, and it is going to prompt you to restart your system. You do have to restart it for those changes to take place. So let that go, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back, and I'm here at the login screen, and if you'll notice right here, before your login name, it actually says domain 03, which is that domain that we just created when we promoted our domain controller. So we'll go ahead and type in that password that we used. And if you're wanting to log in as a local administrator, you need to type in the local computer name / administrator or whatever username you plan to use with that. So. Okay, so once you log in, you're going to go over here to Administrative Tools and go up to Active Directory Users and Computers. And once you're here, you're going to expand the domain 03.local domain that we just created. And then you're going to click on Domain Controllers down here. And you will see that the computer we're on is actually showing up as the domain controller now. And if you want to compare the names on that just to make sure everything's good, go over here to Properties, and you can see that it's Win-BKFIE, some really big long name, and let me just verify that that's the same up here. And it is. So we're good to go, and you are all set up as a domain controller. Just keep in mind you do have to have at least one domain controller in your domain. I believe Microsoft actually recommends 2. That way if you have one domain controller that fails, you do have a backup. So we will probably cover some more stuff on how to do certain tasks with domain controllers later on. But this is all we're going to cover today. It's been a tutorial on how to promote your domain controller in Active Directory. And this is Corey with Goofy Gorilla IT, and thanks for stopping by.